This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to DRTSPR show. This is Dr. Tangella Shivaprasad Reddy alias Dr. TSPR. Namaste, Adab, hello, and a warm welcome to the eternal good friend of DRTSPR channels, Mr. Ravichandran Swaminathan ji. Namaskaram. Because why I say eternal is now he is going to be with DRTSPR channels forever. I am sure of it now with this topic because he has written a book also on data privacy, which I have been trying to highlight long back when the government was going in a different way, unable to understand what information is all about and how information regarding an individual, a citizen, how important it is, not only in the interest or security of the individual citizen, of family, for the society, but for the entire country. Because country means citizens. And citizens with their data, because in India we are a republic submitting constitution to ourselves. That means all the resources belong to every citizen. Prime minister to chief minister, cabinet secretary to chief secretary, they're all just public servants. They're pampered media, they're all just public servants. They have no role. We are the bosses. So when resources belong to such type of citizens whose information, personal data is in the limbo, is being hacked, hijacked, and more so when government wants to share it with private operators, and already in the form of COVID-19, the data is leaked. Don't you think we are already in a state of emergency? Because emergency is what? Curbing your rights, your fundamental rights, your right to life, health, everything. They're all fundamental rights. Then all the other rights over your resources. So all put together, when the breach happens, when the citizens consent data is shared, leaked, hacked, or hijacked, then how safe you are, your family, the society, the state, and the country. When they say it's a global village, now when they are trying to draft a world treaty, one health, one treatment, can it happen any time? In your own body, it will react in a different way to similar situations in a day. I am in Hyderabad. My learned friend is in Coimbatore. You are all watching from different states and countries. Is the same weather environment prevailing everywhere? Do we eat the same food? Are we doing the same job? Do we encounter similar such situations or difficulties, obstacles in life, and you fight it similarly? Your eating habits are different, living habits are different, your environment is different. When such is the case, are you not being trying to be enslaved in a globalized way? That means, is it going not the emergency of 1975? Is this going to be a global emergency wherein the individual rights, their data is breached, hacked, hijacked? For another example, today, Mr. Again, the Bill Gates, who has done so many things in regards to health, he is from a different field. He should have been there doing good things. But venturing into food habits, destroying agriculture with chemical agriculture, hybridization seeds. Stomach will never observe anything unnatural. Similarly, the weather, with that it comes pollution and environmental disaster. Today again he is trying to culture lab meat, stating that slaughtering of animals. Now just imagine the height. Do Bill Gates eat such type of food? That is why this show is more important, because I am relating, once your information is hijacked, your living habits, eating habits, your health, all your resources gone with that leakage, so that you will become enslaved once for all. Yes, sir. Forward from you. Are we still in an emergency of?
Thank you, Dr. Reddy. Um, I will start out from that point itself, data. Now, as your good friend, Mr. Mukesh Ambani, he was the first man to realize that he who controls data will control the world. and that is what they are doing now. They are controlling the data. Uh, Data is being collected by the government and shared with God knows whom, shared willingly with we don't know with whom, shared unwillingly by hackers, that also we do not know. So whatever data that you post on the net is being collected by the government, and it is being shared widely, or it is being accessed widely. Uh, the issue is, how far is our data safe? Because in today's world, digital world, government and the prime minister have been promoting digital India. My fear is, will digital India promote or destroy democracy in India? Because at the end of the day, what we are looking at is the data of the private citizen, the data of the individual. And if this is being accessed by the government or by any other individual, then my right to privacy is affected. Now, the right to privacy has been reduced from a primordial right which is embodied in the constitution and which cannot be compromised in any way, to a mere fundamental right by the Supreme Court in the Justice Puttasamy case. That was my first point when I wrote that book on data privacy. Just to give you a background of how and why data is important. Today we are observing the 48th anniversary of the Declaration of Emergency in 1975 and the consequent excesses which followed that declaration. That declaration of emergency gave unbridled power to bureaucrats, and every government officer, every government clerk became a tyrant in his own department. Innocent people were arrested, students were arrested, they were tortured and killed in custody, no questions asked. Personal liberty and privacy, people started asking what it was. Our courts, with a few exceptional cases, the court, the judiciary subverted itself to the government. And that dark period is an example of what untrammeled power in the hands of the government could do to democracy. And this is my fear. When I talk about untrammeled power in the hands of the government, as Mukesh Ambani said, he who has the data controls the people. Now the data government has got all our data and now they are controlling it. Again, going back into history, we will can see that the emergency was a direct result of the legal challenge to Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Of course, we know why the emergency was declared, what were the conditions under which the emergency was declared, and all that we know. But one thing we must read it history. At this point, I will just divert. We must read history because without history, we will repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Let me start out with the first case, Adolf Hitler in Germany, 1933. Adolf Hitler was an elected leader of Germany. I don't know how many of you know about it. Adolf Hitler was elected to the German parliament called the Reichstag. He was the head of the, not the biggest party, but he was the head of a party, National Socialist Party, Workers' Party, and he had a lot of seats in the German parliament. At that time, the president of Germany was Paul von Hindenburg. And it will give Dr. Reddy some happiness, because Adolf Hitler became the Chancellor of Germany through backroom negotiations with industrialists. Some industrialists in Germany, namely the Krupp Industries, They were instrumental in bringing Adolf Hitler to the highest post in Germany, namely the chancellorship. Once he became the chancellor, there was a fire accident at the Reichstag. Immediately, he blamed the communists and passed a decree called the Reichstag Fire Decree. This was in 1933. Then, after that, the Enabling Act was passed. And these two acts gave Adolf Hitler the power to override individual liberties, to pass and enforce laws without parliamentary oversight. At one stage, when Paul Hindenburg died, all that Hitler did was he merged the chancellor and the president's post into one post and became the dictator of Germany. Or, in other words, the constitution of Germany itself permitted the rise of Adolf Hitler as the dictator of Germany. And we know afterwards what happened. It went into the Second World War,
Second World
killing
War.
of millions of people, concentration camps, and everything that we know about it.
Yeah.
Now, in a similar this thing, now as I said earlier, we know why the emergency was declared. But do we know what enabled Indira Gandhi to declare the emergency? Just as the German constitution gave the powers to Adolf Hitler to change the laws and declare himself a dictator, in a similar fashion, Mrs. Indira Gandhi used Article 352, subsection 1 of the Constitution, which gave the President powers to declare emergency. This is the reason. This is how it happened. On the night of June 25th, the president got a letter from Indira Gandhi saying that a situation of grave emergency has arisen and that he should declare emergency. Did it rise? No. Was any grave emergency in place in India at that time? No. But still, Mrs. Indira Gandhi sent a letter to the president asking him to declare a state of emergency, and he declared the state of emergency. And the entire beauty of it was nobody knew that she was going to declare emergency except 3 or 4 people around her. Not even the cabinet was informed that emergency was going to be declared.
When emergency
It
situation
is
prevailed in the country.
it was only after the president issued the declaration of emergency on 26th morning, a cabinet committee was called and they were informed that the president has declared emergency. Now you see, a bunch of 4 people have hijacked the entire country based on a legal section in the constitution which permitted the president to declare a state of emergency. Now, this emergency lasted for 2 years. Now, before this emergency, what happened? In 1971, around April 22nd, I think, if I'm not mistaken, yes, around April 20th, 22nd, Indira Gandhi passed a law called Maintenance of Internal Security Act. It was called MISA. And it was supposed to be used against people who indulge in armed rebellion. The same year, sometime around December 4th, just before the Bangladesh war, another act was passed. It was called the Defense of India Act. And there were rules under that. And these two acts were used under emergency to quell any opposition. Because Defense of India rules or act said that you could arrest a person and keep him behind bars without bringing him to court for 2 years. in the Jabalpur the habeas corpus case, the judge Hajar Khanna, he decided that this act was ultra vires a constitution. He was overruled by the Supreme Court. And that is why during emergency all this mischief took place, because the judiciary chose to blindfold itself.
Still blindfolded.
One elected leader, one popular elected leader without a good opposition can hijack the constitution and declare himself or herself as a dictator of this of this country. So this is the second issue that I'm talking. Today we have an elected leader, a very popular leader. We have an this thing whom people are worshipping as God. Yes, no doubt about that. In 1971, Indira Gandhi was also worshipped as goddess. I don't know if you people remember Indra, India is Indra, Indra is India. That was the slogan then, because she won the Bangladesh war. Even our late Prime Minister Vajpayee described her as Durga. But that didn't stop her from putting Vajpayee into prison for 2 years. That's a different issue. See, when power, that is why I use the word power corrupts. Absolute
Absolute
power
power.
corrupts absolutely. Now, all these things were enabled because of the rules that were passed, because of the acts that were passed, because of people kept quiet, because the opposition did not raise its voice when the MISA was passed, when the Defense of India rules were passed. Nobody objected to it. Everything was done in the name of national interest. If anybody spoke against it, he was labeled as anti-national. Does it ring any bells? Today, if you speak against the government, you are an anti-national. If anybody talks against the government, he is anti-national. If anybody talks against the chief minister, he is put into jail under Sedition Act. Under Sedition Act. If anybody talks ill of the chief minister, then immediately he is put into prison, saying that he is inciting public law and order. So this is misuse of the law. This is absolute misuse of the law, and people are keeping quiet. Now, have we learned anything from the above records? Those who forget history, those who don't read history, will tend to repeat it. Now, I will give you 2 or 3 more points here, 3 or 4 more points here. First thing, and all these points I have discussed it on your channel also, Dr. Reddy. The first one was the Criminal Procedure Identification Bill, which was passed in April 6, 2022. This bill gave the government expanded powers to collect information of anybody accused of even a minor crime like violation of section 144 or a traffic violation. It gave the head constable to ask for all these powers, which means tomorrow if I ride a motorbike without a helmet, I can be taken to the police station and asked to give my biometrics, including DNA samples. Now, what is the problem here? Why shouldn't I give my biometrics, or why shouldn't I give my DNA samples? The best example lies in Hyderabad itself. Sometime back, the fingerprints of some people were taken from the registrar of land records. Are you aware of that? I don't know how many of you are aware of it.
Okay.
Some people joined together with the, I think, the peon in the registrar office and lifted the fingerprints of the people who had registered the documents in the registrar office. And this, along with the Aadhaar card, enabled them to access the bank account. And several lakhs of rupees were stolen. So, when the government collects information, there is no guarantee that it is safe. There is no guarantee that this data is safe. On 22nd April, I don't know, 22nd April seems to be a day when everything which goes against the freedom of the people happens. 22nd April 1971, MISA was passed. 22nd April 2022, Certain has issued a directive telling VPN services to provide, collect and store data about the users. See, Certain is not a parliament, it is not an elected body, it is an appointed body. They are issuing, it is an executive body, they are issuing a direction to VPN service providers to collect and store data about the users, which is a violation of the privacy of the user. And right to privacy is a fundamental right. It can be breached only by a legislative act, not by the act of an executive officer in the government. So now, once the VPN networks start collecting your data, what do? They access your connection logs. They keep track of what time you connected to the VPN, how long you were connected. They can access to IP addresses and server you are originally connected to, which means they can keep track of you. Now, they can share all these data with the law enforcement. They can use these logs to visit the websites that you have visited. They can access the content and message that you have sent or received. They can know the list of applications and services you are accessing through your device. They can access your physical location. So what happens to your privacy, Dr. Reddy? And
Gone.
the reason, and the reason given And the reason given for making this directive is to check illegal activities which are being done using the VPN USP of total anonymity. Or, in other words, I will look at it from another point of view. Now, VPN is using its unique selling point is total anonymity. So, the government wants to know who is using the VPN. If the government wants to know who is using the VPN for illegal activities, just because out of 1 lakh people, about 100 people are misusing the VPN, does it mean that all the 1 lakh people data has to be taken out? The easier way is to ban VPN. So why is the government doing it? Why are they more interested in collecting data of 1 lakh people just to, with the excuse that they want to pinpoint who the 10 people are who are misusing the VPN? It is just like our finance minister saying 30% tax on cryptocurrency. And now, if you ask cryptocurrency exchanges to collect the data of all the users, what they are going to do is simply transfer their entire operations to Dubai or some other place and do the same job over here. Right now, I am investigating a case where 1,700 crores has been transferred out through cryptocurrency. The person is in Dubai. So now what is the government going to do? Now he has got the data of all the people who have, several lakhs of people who have invested in cryptocurrency, all the data is with that bank. So this is how data leakages take place. And the government, instead of banning such applications outright, they are just doing some surface job of cleaning, pretending to pass laws. And what sort of laws are they passing? They are trying to take the data of the entire population of the country just because 10 or 100 people or 1,000 people are misusing the data. How is this justified? Now, Aadhaar, Aadhaar has been linked to the mobile. Linkage of Aadhaar to the mobile has been made mandatory. Mobile phones are being served by private entities like Jio, Mukesh Ambani's Jio, like Airtel, Bharti Airtel, which means now all the Aadhaar data will go to Reliance as well as to Bharti Airtel. And they are private people, private entities. By passing a law making Aadhaar linkage to mobile mandatory, the government has opened the biometric data, all our biometric data, to private entities, and we do not know what they are going to do with it. Because the government has not passed the data privacy bill till date. They have not passed the data privacy bill nor the Data Protection Act till date. Now, do you know something else, Dr. Reddy? There are 16 different facial recognition softwares in operation in this country and used by the central government, state governments, and the corporates. Another 17 are being developed. And all these facial recognition softwares are being used to capture the images of persons. So, tomorrow, don't be very surprised if a policeman stops you, takes your photograph, and compares it with the. Actually, it is already in operation now. He takes your photograph, sends his photograph to a central database, and from the central database, the data comes to his mobile phone, which says whether you have been accused in any criminal activity. Which means your face recognition and my face is being stored in the database with whose permission? With whose permission? When this question was asked to the government said that this face recognition software is being used based on a cabinet meeting note held in 2009, which means there is no legal recognition for facial recognition softwares. But still, the central government is using it, the state government is using it, corporates are using it, everybody is using it. Everybody is collecting this most personal data. It is being done without any legal backing, without any legal sanction.
Without involving the people,
Now,
citizens
I ask,
concerned. Without involving the citizens
yes,
concerned people. No discussion in panchayat, municipalities,
yeah.
assembly. As if this is the rajas, these are the rajas, elected representatives are rajas, and we are the slaves. Yep, good.
See, the the issue is again when I asked a person, you are collecting these facial, you are collecting details about all the faces, and you are storing it. What happens if an innocent person is accused of something which he has not done based on your software? You know what was the reply I got? It is collateral damage.
So we are
Or
we
in
are we are
other
erect.
words,
Yeah.
or in other words, out of 1 lakh people, the government wants to identify 20 people or 30 people who are miscreants or criminals, and for that they take the details of 1 lakh people, and if among the 1 lakh another 100 people are harassed or they are made to suffer because of this, then it becomes collateral damage.
Yes.
So this is the state of privacy in our country. Is this what democracy is all about?
Yeah.
I am surprised that nobody is talking about it.
No one is
I am
even aware of it.
extremely surprised that nobody is talking about it.
They are not aware that the collateral damage which is going to do to them, how it is going to harm, किस तरह उनको ये समाचार, हमारा व्यक्तिगत समाचार से किस तरह हमको नुकसान पहुंचेगा कानूनी के तौर पर ही, किसी को समझ में नहीं आ रहा नागरिक को, क्योंकि उनको कोई ऐसा समाचार नहीं है, क्योंकि पंचायत में ना चर्चा होती है, ना पुरपालक शाखा, ना विधानसभा, और ये लोकसभा में तो छोड़िए, वहां तो कुछ भी नहीं दिखाई देता। टॉप टू बॉटम, ऊपर से नीचे तक लागू किए जा रहे हैं, ये लोकतंत्र के
But why
खिलाफ।
is the media keeping quiet, Dr. Reddy?
Now, who is media, sir,
No,
here?
why is the media keeping quiet?
Now,
Why
media is
aren't they
grossly
objecting to
divided.
this?
Media is grossly divided. You are aware. Every political party has one media or their supporting medias. Where is the independence for the media? And whoever good journalists, honest journalists, when they try to work, they are terminated. You have seen what happened when the union minister, she said, from which paper you are working, Dainik. Next day he lost his job. No one is speaking. No unions. No one. He loses his job. That's what, already we are in emergency, authoritarian rule. And opposition, you see, they always stand divided. They have been caught after November 8 demonetization. Now everyone wants their own space. See, even the, what should I say, the political parties, how they are funded, how, which corporate company, how much it is funding. Electoral bonds have become opaque. Supreme Court is still sitting on that, like emergency like situation 1975. It is still not taking it for trial. That means all political parties have become one. COVID-19, you have seen how all political parties with their pampered media created a fear. The same fear has made people to be locked down. Now the same they are trying to extend it in the form of infrastructure build up, chemicalization of agriculture, hybridization of seeds. They are destroying environment. Yes, sir. Please go ahead. No information. No one wants to react.
See, no, you talked about the media. Even in the emergency, when the media was asked to, when the media was asked to conform to government regulation, they started crawling. And that was the reason why the excesses of emergency happened. At that point in time, I remember there were only two newspapers which stood up to emergency. One was the Indian Express under Goenka. And in that 2 years, Goenka was arrested. Indian Express was closed down. Its printing machinery was taken out and auctioned. The other person who opposed emergency was Cho Ramasamy and the Tughlaq. Mr. Gurumurthy, who is presently heading Tughlaq, that time he was assisting Goenka. So, if the media, see, this entire constitution is based on four pillars. It is of checks and balances. Now we are in a situation where the court is listening to the government or the government is listening to the court and the media is keeping quiet. And public opinion, they are ignorant of the entire thing. So how can democracy flourish in this country if things go like this? When these acts were passed, I remember I told you on your channel also, Mr. Amit Shah, the Home Minister, he said that this will not be misused. Okay. I take Mr. Amit Shah at his word. There is no, he will not misuse it. Okay, I am confident that he will not he is not going to misuse it. But what is the guarantee that once you have passed this law, because there is no guarantee that the BJP is going to rule this country for the next 100 years. What happens if some fellow like Adolf Hitler comes to power? Then he is going to use these laws to harass the innocent people and bring this entire country into shambles. Where is the checks and balances? This is how Adolf Hitler. Now you realize why I told about Adolf Hitler and Indira Gandhi. The rules were created by them constitutionally, legally, and it was misused by them later on. Now, where is the guarantee that these rules will not be misused later on? Without passing the Data Protection Act, without passing the Data Privacy Act, if this level of and artificial intelligence, the next level, once artificial intelligence comes in, quantum computing comes in, then we can forget about privacy. Every person in this country his data will be open. My only request that I can make through your channel is, let the legal people address it. Let them give solutions to this urgently. Otherwise, we will no longer have the freedom to have a private life. We are already gone halfway like the Chinese mode of regimentation. It doesn't take much time to switch on to the Chinese method of repression. I would like to conclude with one quotation from Benjamin Franklin. Those who give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither the liberty nor the safety. If the people of this country are willing to give up some of their liberty to purchase safety or some sort of prosperity, then they don't deserve either liberty or the prosperity or the safety. We are better off as a dictatorship rather than a democracy. There is no point in blaming President Obama for saying that democracy is danger in India. Thank you very much, Dr. Reddy.
And he, Mr.
On the
Obama,
anniversary of emergency, for giving me an opportunity.
I should be, and that too, Obama, who has bombed Muslim countries, who has killed innocent Muslims, and is talking about minorities in India. See the irony. And his own government heading, there they are welcoming his own industrialists. They are going gaga about Modi because they want to capture the youthful Indian market for the sake of money. Yeah, see the politics. See the politics. Because they know here the minorities Muslims, they have extraterritorial this thing. In Medina they pray. We respect it. Because taking advantage of that, they are trying to create mischief with the sons of the soil philosophy. I don't think all Muslims will heed to such. There are ifs and buts everywhere. Exceptions are always accepted in any society. But the way and I'll try to show one before I come to the strategic questions, uh, as we always do. Because what happens when you submit yourself, you have seen how the transport planes were taken and bombed America. Still, they are not learning. They want again artificial intelligence. How can you parallel human brain? It's all idiocy and idiotic things. I wanted to show you some this thing in the recent times. So this is what is all government plans to let private companies access Aadhaar data, and Mukesh Ambani is not my friend, as he has been saying, and we have made his younger Ambani run for the cover to the Supreme Court, and after that again he got Rafael offset 30,000 crores, 40,000, where when we go for loan we don't get credit card and loans. Mr. Modi and Amit Shah has to say, we have been writing to them, they are very soft and very clear too. See, the COVID data leak is a sign India needs to rethink its digital public infrastructure, because whether it is civil and all, their servers are in some other countries already. Our already data is gone. At least China, people have started to fight. What has been shown that zero COVID policy, because people fought There was a big agitation than Tiananmen Square. That is why they had to take it back. Now even they have removed words like communism and all. This latest Chinese government, at least China is coming back to somewhat, I would say, the democratic aspects. How can India slip because of all this? Now I'm going to show you what artificial intelligence is and can do into day to day. See, our channels are already marked out. You take the best bandwidth also.
What's the buttons? Oh no, they installed voice recognition technology in this lift. I heard about this. Voice recognition technology in a lift in Scotland. You ever tried voice recognition technology? No. They don't do Scottish accents. 11.
Could you please repeat that?
11. 11. You need to try an American accent. 11. 11. Sounds Irish, not American. What, doesn't it? Where in America is that? Dublin?
I'm sorry. Could you please repeat that?
Try an English accent, right? 11. 11. You for the same part of England as Dick Van Dyke?
Please speak slowly and clearly.
If you don't understand the lingo, away back came to your own country. Ooh, is that talk now, is it? Oh, don't start, Mr. Bleeding Heart. How can you be racist to a lift?
Please speak slowly and clearly.
11. 11. You're just saying it the same way. I'm going to keep saying it until I understand Scottish, alright? 11. 11. I'll just say it's anywhere, you cow. Just open the doors.
This is a voice-activated elevator. Please state which floor you would like to go to in a clear and calm manner.
Calm. Calm. Where's that coming from? Why is it telling people to be calm? Because they knew they'd be selling this to Scottish people who'd be going up for nuts at it.
You have not selected a floor.
Aye, we have 11.
If you would like to get out of the elevator without selecting a floor, simply say, "Open the doors, please."
Please? Please? Suck my wally. Maybe we should just say please. I'm not begging that for nothing. Open the doors, please. Please. Pathetic.
Please remain calm.
Oh, good. What do you want up there? Get him up there. Hey, just wait for it to speak.
You have not selected a floor.
Ah, girls, you cow! Scotland, you bastard! Scotland! 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 Freedom!
This is how people will be shouting for their freedom if you submit yourself. If you submit yourself, if you allow your data to be used by the banks and private, and this is going to happen. Now, what do you say about this artificial intelligence? Your data is gone, you are enslaved, they want to control everything.
What do you do?
Go through all that cycle of 3 minutes, Scottish cycle of 3 minutes.
They want to, they are already controlling everything.
Yeah.
They are already controlling everything. What Justice Sri Krishna said was very correct. How can you give every data to a private individual without having the Data Privacy Act in place?
Mr. Modi, Amit Shah, where are you? Rahul Gandhi, Baba, Kejriwal, Baba, Communist Babas, Mamata Banerjee,
But how do you
and
challenge
Nitish
the
Kumar,
government?
where the hell you are? What are you doing? Without Data Privacy Act, Data Protection Act, how can you allow the personal details like Aadhaar, PAN card, or others to be shared to any service provider? This is ridiculous. This is absolutely nonsense and it is trash. इसीलिए हम बोलते कि जागो नागरिकों, अगर अब आप नहीं जागे तो आपका स्वतंत्रता खत्म, आप गुलाम बन जाओगे, आपके साथ आपके परिवार को भी सदा गुलामी के रास्ते पे चलाओगे। इसीलिए आप जाग जाओ, आपका जिंदगी है, आपके हाथ में है। अगर कोई आपका निजी समाचार, आधार हो या पैन कार्ड हो और आपका डेट ऑफ बर्थ की सर्टिफिकेट जो भी हो, अगर आप किसी प्रोवाइडर, सर्विस प्रोवाइडर हो, जियो हो या कोई केबल ऑपरेटर हो या किसी को आप दे रहे हैं, आप बैंक को या क्रेडिट कार्ड के लिए, डाटा प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट, डाटा प्राइवेसी एक्ट, डाटा प्रोटेक्शन, ये जो समाचार का एक प्रतिबंध होना चाहिए। वैसे कानून अभी तक लागू नहीं किया सरकार। राजनीतिक दल पूरे एक है। आप सोचिए कोविड-19 के टाइम पे किस तरह ये इलेक्ट्रल बॉन्ड्स क्यों बात नहीं करते और सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी चुपचाप बैठी हुई है। यही दोहराता है 1975, जब उस समय इमरजेंसी की बात दोहराती है यहां पर भी। इसी तरह की चीज अब अगर आमने सामने आने से आप प्रतिघटन नहीं करें, क्योंकि आपका निजी समाचार लिया जा रहा है ताकि आपको सदा गुलामी बना के रखने की एक साजिश बनता है। क्योंकि डाटा प्राइवेसी या डाटा प्रोटेक्शन कानून आज तक लागू नहीं किया गया, लेकिन आपका डाटा, आपका समाचार प्राइवेट ऑपरेटर से लेके इवन सरकार भी लेते लेते जा रहा है। क्यों ले रहा, किस लिए ले रहा? आपको समाचार तो रहनी चाहिए ताकि इसको, ये समाचार, आपके निजी समाचार, कोई दूसरी तरीके से, कोई इसको गलत तरीके से आपके खिलाफ इस्तेमाल ना करे। इसी तरह की कानून पिछले 2022 में ही बना चुके हैं सरकार। उस दिन भी हम ये कर चुके हैं, हम अमेंडमेंट टू क्रिमिनल प्रोसीजर एक्ट। उस समय भी हम 3 या 4 शो करे हैं, लेकिन आज तक लोगों को जानकारी होने पर भी समझ में नहीं आ रहा। You have to understand, government is or trying to provide your basic information which belongs to you only. To private operators or even government is trying to secure it and keep it. And if it is misused, as we have shown the instances, what will you do? You are totally enslaved. Not only you are enslaved by not raising your voice, you are putting the life of your family and your children also into dark. Even they will be enslaved forever. Because when you are sharing your personal data, where is the Data Privacy Act, Data Storage Act? Did Parliament pass it? Why all political parties are keeping quiet? You have seen during COVID-19 what has happened, how they created fear as and when they wanted. COVID waves used to come. They are keeping quiet on electoral bonds, which corporate company, how much it is pumping to which party. Why it should be secret? Free and fair election under the basic structure of the Constitution of India, when the people, citizens, voters themselves are the Constitution. They are just servants. How is that public servants are creating all these law, taking away your information without creating a proper law so that it can be protected, it can be safeguarded? With your own money, they are working. They are supposed to work. They are working. But how is that? The public taxes paid, there is no transparency and accountability when your own personal data, information, whether government is securing or sharing it to private operators. How can you protect yourselves? So that means you are already in a state of emergency. Add to this, last year 2022, we have said amendment to Criminal Procedure Act. Even a constable can collect, include your DNA and everything. What is that nonsense? Are you a criminal? Let all these politicians, their families, all these administrators who are responsible, and all those law enforcing agents who are keeping quiet, their samples be collected first. That's what we were demanding. No, what sort of vaccine you have taken? What were the ingredients of the vaccines which you took? Why don't you make ingredients of the vaccines public, including remdesivir? This is the same way they are trying to take your personal information, your data, in the name of something. They are securing and storing it, including facial recognition. And add to that amendment to the Criminal Procedure Act, wherein a constable also can checkmate you by collecting all, including your DNA. Is it not a state of emergency already in this country? So we leave it to your own better sense. If you don't fight as you have done, as you have succumbed that to the fear campaign of COVID-19, similar way World Treaty, now these Data Privacy Act or Data Storage Act, if it doesn't become a law, then your privacy, your right to life, health, everything is gone. That means all the fundamental rights will be infringed at every given situation. You will never have a say because you have never bothered to act or react now. Again, you will stand divided by the religion, caste, creed, or another euphoria, only to see that the hidden agenda to control you, to suppress your fundamental rights. In doing so, they are going to kill the spirit of people participatory constitutional democracy once for all. इस तरह करने से लोकतंत्र खत्म ही हो जाएगा. Yes, sir, your passing comment.
I am only
Your voice
afraid
or audio?
that
Yes, sir, please.
I am only afraid that if people keep quiet, then probably we will not be able to interact on this channel at a future date.
Everything. See, already you have seen when you are speaking, the bandwidth is already hacked. They're not allowing a proper regular live shows on DRTSPR channels. We know they are hacking. You hack, you create all nonsensical things because we are not doing anything against rule of law, against constitution. Whatever we are doing with evidential act, that too in larger public interest, to uphold the constitution. The fundamental rights matter if the democracy has to survive. Even if the spirit of the democracy has to survive, the fundamental rights are a core and a must. A right to privacy is a must, and a right to that act to protect Data Privacy Act and Data Protection Act. If this government doesn't pass, if that they do not become a law in this parliament, that means they are extending the emergency eternally by bringing now health. Because if you create another fear, another pandemic, people will suffer, people will not question. In the name of lockdown, they can lock you down eternally so that you are not exposed to the sunlight, nor you will come out and speak to anyone. That way your health is gone, necessary rightful information you cannot secure, you will be enslaved. As he rightly said, when China, the people fought back much bigger than Tiananmen Square agitation. That is why COVID, zero COVID hoax, Chinese repressors have to take back. Not only that, they have even trying to take away the words like communism and all from their ruling a front. But India, if it starts succumbing, if it starts going the Chinese way, no one can help. We are doing our best because the tagline of DRTSPR channels is simple and clear. No enmity against individual, nor animosity against a party or organizations. Issue as per rule of law, constitution, invoking evidential act. We properly disseminate information to the public, citizens. It is for the citizens to understand and to act. And this dissemination by wonderful guests like Ravichandran Swaminathan ji continues eternally on DRTSPR channels, which is celebrating the 3rd anniversary, and it needs all your support. You need to fund these channels. I've been sharing everything. DRTSPR, Citizens DRTSPR, Environment People DRTSPR, BitShoot DRTSPR, again Rumble DRTSPR channels. They're all in larger public interest. You need to support them. You need to fund them because government is not allowing us any loan or anything, even rightfully also. For that reason, need to subscribe, support, and share DRTSPR channels to all so that every citizen owns it, because this is an independent platform connecting guests from wherever they are. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. We will repeat this. We will repeat this show on Citizens DRTSPR channel also. Thank you. Take care. जागो, ये आपके प्रजा हित में ही ये शो किया गया है. अगर आप नहीं जागोगे, लोकतंत्र की बात भूलना पड़ेगा. इसीलिए लोग नागरिक जागो, लोकतंत्र के नारा अगर बचना है तो आपका जागना इसी वक्त सही है, वरना आपके साथ आपके बच्चों का भविष्य भी खतरे में होगा। सोचिए और DRTSPR चैनल्स को सपोर्ट कीजिए। थैंक यू वेरी मच सर, गुड नाइट।